Hi, hello. My name is Spartan. Welcome to the Computer and Software Engineering's Q&A section. In this session, we have Professor Rod Fatui, the Associate Chair of Computer Engineering. Today, we're just going to go over a quick little overview into how to use Zoom and how to ask questions. And then we'll quickly go into our Q&A where you can start asking your questions about computer engineering and life at SJSU. So down at the bottom bar of your Zoom application, we have a Q&A area. If you click it, you can type your answer and we will either answer it live or send you a message through the Q&A panel. There's also a chat button so that you can chat with us or chat with your peers. And you can chat privately as well. And we're just going to get started with the Q&A questions. So I'm going to hand it off to Professor Rod Fatui.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing, guys? So there's already one question in the chat about how to take transfer to software engineering from the major industrial technology in my sophomore there. Are there prerequisites required and the GPA be obtained for a change to the major? Yes, there are prerequisite requirements. There are 7 courses need to be taken. We treat the change of major just like a transfer from another major. So when you try to transfer from one major to another there, where you're on in San Jose State, then you can just go through the process there. We do have a process online, and basically there are 7 courses need to be taken, but depending on your GPA, then would be ranked based on what's called the STEM GPA there. So that's how we do it there. Okay.
We have one raised hand. I'm going to allow them to talk so that they can ask the question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Somebody said we can barely hear you. Is that the issue, or maybe in your...
So I can hear you just fine. Would you like to check your audio settings and just see if you can turn it up a little bit more?
I'm just setting up as high. Is it okay now?
I can hear you.
How is it now? I mean...
Yeah. It says I can hear him just fine. All right. So we have your question.
Now somebody can see, I can hear you now just fine, yeah. Okay, okay, I can hear you. Okay, the student said you can hear you, okay.
All right, I can't see your name, but the person who has their hand raised, can you please ask a question? It's Farhan Razul.
Okay.
They're not talking, so we'll go ahead and we'll just move on to the next Q&A question. So how can I transfer to the computer science major from software engineering?
Well, that's up to the computer science department. You have to contact computer science department there. They have their own procedure. We're dealing with computer engineering and software engineering here. Software engineering, computer engineering, both of them within the computer engineering department.
What percent of faculty are still working in the industry?
Well, it's kind of, I mean, we have quite a few faculty working in the industry there, but there's not like percentage because it's kind of depending on certain time. There's other people more like working, more like consulting on consulting basis, some work under grant. So there's no, I don't believe we have specific statistic about that.
Okay. From another anonymous attendee, do you have any suggestions for a good computer for a software engineering major?
What do you mean by suggestions? I mean...
They're just asking for what would be a good computer for the major, you know, for continuing coursework. I think I can more answer that as I work for ECS, our technical support at engineering. I would definitely suggest that you stick with, if you're going to do software engineering, most likely I recommend a Windows computer. Depending on if you go out into other engineering majors, a lot of the software is specialized for Windows, and you'll have a hard time. While it's still possible using boot camp, you can have difficulty getting access to some of the engineering software. Um, but if you already have a pre-existing Mac, they're fine computers and they'll work just fine. We may need to assist you from time to time. So we have a question from Siri. As a CS major, is it possible to minor in a different field in terms of course load?
Well, we don't have a minor in computer or software engineering. There are different minors, but computer engineering department doesn't have minor.
Okay. From Neil, what are the major differences between software engineering and computer science majors?
Software engineering, computer science. There's different, actually, in software engineering, the early courses students taken are similar. So they take the two programming classes, CS46A, 46B there. Software engineering in general, dealing more like in the software, the higher layer of software, how to develop large-scale software, how to maintain it, how to deployment, the other thing there. While computer science dealing more like with the basics of computer science, the algorithmic side and some of the basic concepts of computers there. I think one of the slides, if you've seen it, that deal with that part.
Would you like to share your screen to show that slide?
Oh, okay. Let me see here.
It's about the bottom taskbar.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
share.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let me see where it is here. Do you see it now?
Yep, we see it.
Okay, let me blow it up. Let's see. You see it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's kind of the general concept here. That's the difference between the two, what we think is the difference there. So here I give you more details what you see that it's computer science more focused on the algorithmic theoretical, while software engineering more focused on the complexity and challenges of engineering deployment there. If you want to go a little more details, I can show you what is in software engineering program there. And this is give you details. So if you go to hjsu.edu.bs, you see that one, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, you see that one there. And probably the easiest thing to look at the peer code chart there. Okay. And here is showing you in yellow the computer science classes. Here is computer the shared classes between computer engineering and software engineering. Purple. Some of the classes common with computer science. So the difference probably not more than 20 units, 6, 7 classes, difference between computer science and, so there's quite a bit of overlapping between the two programs. Okay.
So from Mo, do you have to take additional classes to switch majors from computer to software engineering?
Yes, from computer software engineering. First of all, the GPA is quite important. What you get the GPA there. Programming is another issue because in computer engineering we use C++, while we use Java and software engineering, and actually computer science use Java as well there. So some of the classes, but I think in general most classes are the same for switching between the two majors.
What is the job placement rate for computer engineering?
Pretty good. I mean, last few years, our students usually get multiple offers there. So, I mean, we've been blessed for the last few years.
All right, from Simi, I am an incoming freshman in an undeclared category. I want to pursue software engineering. I want to know, due to impaction, how hard is it to transfer from undeclared to software engineering?
Well, you need to take several courses. Let me get out of the screen. So sorry. Yeah, I'm out of that. Okay. There are several courses you need to take there required. If you're looking for a transfer, like Math 30, Math 31, Physics 50, 51, Computer. So there's about 7 courses there, and then you need to have a pretty good GPA there, and it's calculated every year. So that's kind of requirement. So take your probably a year, but you need quite focus and taking the required courses that to transfer to software engineering or computer engineering.
And just another note that we covered in the dean's presentation earlier today, that if you have questions about changing major to an engineering major, our suggestion is to visit the ESSC, the Engineering Success Center, when you start school, and they can help you out with an advising session on transferring majors. So from another anonymous attendee, what is the difference? We already answered that. So from Bin Noon, I want to preserve my option so that I can finish my computer engineering major at SJSU or transfer to the UC system. Is there any special program I should be in?
You mean to transfer after you get to, so you want to start with computer engineering, then transfer, then it's up to UC system. You need to check with the UC system. You always have to follow whatever the one you're going into, not the one you're coming from. So not like, we don't have any specific program for the one who want to transfer out of our program.
Okay. From Santiago, with the current state of things, how are classes that need to happen in person in class look like? Things like labs. Is every class going to be virtual until it's safe to attend class?
Well, it's kind of always planned. There's nothing being decided yet. There's already planning there. So right now for the summer classes, it's still going to be online there. And it is for the fall, they still working on what's going to happen. So that's nothing being decided yet, but you can rest assured that the university tries best to be what is as effective as possible for the student to attend and do labs or whatever need to be done there to get the best MOLAC learning objectives there.
From Aaron, given the current situation, what are some summer enrichment opportunities that you can suggest I enroll before entering SJSU for computer engineering?
Well, there's you have to look at the summer program, what they have there. So what major he's in, what is, I mean, he can start it if there's some classes, but typically there wouldn't be more like computer engineering classes. Typically it can be math or physics, whatever classes that you needed for your major there.
Okay, from Ariane, how often will we do labs or have hands-on experiences during our first year of computer engineering?
Well, the first year, typically you didn't take classes in the major. So you take classes in math, computer. The first programming class does have labs, but it's not I'm not sure it's physical lab, but it's because you do programming in that sense there. So that's what you expect there. Most labs gonna come more like in the third year when you start taking the typical, I mean, computer engineering classes there, which could be physical lab too there.
From another anonymous attendee, what internship opportunities are available for software engineering? How do I find out about them?
Well, it is the university has more like fair, and a lot of students find more like the internship in these fairs. There is find opportunities, and on top of that, we get a club in-house there, and the club has sometimes connections, and you can get some opportunities there as well. So you get it from the university, you get it from the college, you get it from the department as well there, and word of mouth, friends with others there.
How would someone transferring into computer and software engineering major in their first year get on track to graduate in 4 years?
Well, if you take the right courses, you just follow that, what you saw the chart there, and there is more like 4-year plan and 5-year plan there. And you take the right courses, I mean the courses that is more like the prerequisite for other courses. If you follow that one there, and if you're on the right path, it's possible to finish in 4 years. Transferring is a bit harder because you may have taken some classes not really needed there, and you may have to fill in some gaps for classes supposed to be taken earlier, you haven't taken that in there. But it's possible to finish 4 or 5 years there. Again, you have to make sure you need to work very closely with the advisor. We have 2 advisors in the department. So work both of them and tell them, okay, show the classes you've taken there. And then they look at that classes and look at the plan there. And actually online, there's all tools that help you with that. At my age, it's you.
From Mohammed Idris, I'm a transfer student from community college, and I am starting software engineering in fall 2020. Many people say that SJSU is a good engineering school because it's hands-on. Can you explain kind of the hands-on strategy that SJSU helps students to be ready for jobs?
Well, it's through our classes. A lot of our classes had labs there. Even if there's no physical lab, there's lab assignments in the classes, like programming classes, all other things there. So that's part of it. The other part of it is they'll ask you to do senior project, and that's, always more like you do some project, some kind of hands-on project. You work with a specific advisor for that one there. So you work for a whole year on that senior project. So it's a combination of multiple classes. Majority of the classes have some lab assignments there, and as well as the senior project.
From an anonymous attendee, do COMPI and SE department faculties take courses like IoT, cybersecurity, and cloud computing for other majors like computer network system management?
We do have, we do have classes. Right now we have permanent classes in IoT and all this field there. So, and we keep revising and updating, adding more courses. So we're pretty good in that. We usually have new classes. Actually, we have a couple of faculty in IoT area. Network management, currently we don't have specific network management. I think there's a class in computer science offering network management, and some students who take specialization or certificate in security, network security, they can take that class. But in general, we do have IoT and what other field you said? IoT, I think, said network management. So yes, and actually as part of the elective, students in the software engineering program they can choose 2 electives at the last year, and they can pick classes either from computer engineering or from computer science department. And usually in hot areas, very cutting edge areas.
From Jose Sandoval, what kind of projects are we expected to be working on in the computer engineering course?
If you're talking about senior project, you decide on project with a project advisor, people building, sometimes building robots, people building more like some software application to help other students to get to parking lot. So some very interesting project there. As far as a class project, depending on specific classes there, in networking, there's project like I teach networking classes. There's project about monitoring the network, about doing network programming, and different classes have different projects.
Can we take up cybersecurity as a major in software engineering?
You can take a specialization. Sorry, go
ahead. Yeah, I was just saying that I think it's more, can you specialize it? Can you do a concentration in cybersecurity?
Yeah, there is a certificate. You can get certificate as it's actually joint with computer science too. There, computer science has one. We have one there, and in general, you take usually it's more like the same class you taken for your major, but probably one or two other classes you need to take for that one. There's information about the certificate part there, in cybersecurity, and we have two dedicated. Actually, more than two and a half, more like 2.5 faculty dedicated in the security area.
Okay. We have a question from Pardeep Singh. I would be transferring to SJSU for CompE courses. Will I be able to apply for internships as soon as I get in this fall?
Well, I think it's depending on the requirement. I have to look back about the requirement for internship. Usually, I mean, the first year expect to take courses, and I mean, usually the first year can be a lot of specific courses in the major. Students want to wait until the end of the first year, maybe the summer, to get to the internship, because kind of you need to focus on the coursework early on there, and you need to get good grades to get to the internship there. So it's not highly recommended to start right away with internship there. And internship gonna take time from you too there. So it's gonna, if you start with the internship, then you're not gonna have that much time to focus on your classes there. We usually recommend that you just focus on coursework early on.
Is there a specific order of classes that we should follow for taking classes for software engineering? More like, is it structured in a way that you have to take a specific order?
That's right. Yes, actually, there are tools. My HSU, the system we use there, I tell you what what you need to take next every semester there. Or I mean, it's structured based on. I think I can show this again. You want me to? Let me just share the screen again. So you see it now, right?
Okay. Yes.
Let me see. Sorry, let me check one more time. You see it, right? This is here showing the 5-year program there, which is very important. This we call the prerequisite chart. And updated, we already have one for next year. Once the catalog comes out, we have one for next year there. So I'll show you this one. Show dependency. Let's start somewhere here, the 3rd year. Start here. So this is show you what the courses you're supposed to take for the next semester there. But again, if you fulfill the prerequisite requirement, you have taken the courses before, then you jump to the other one there. But you have choices. Sometimes classes are full, sometimes classes haven't made the prerequisite there. So as long as you meet the prerequisite there, then you should be okay. The other part of it, you need to look at the one with the critical path. Critical path, like is early on, all students should have more like CS46A, 46B, because this one, the peak was there's so many other classes there. So you cannot jump to somewhere here without taking all the prerequisites. Like here, you need to have both these classes to get to CS 166 there, and so on there. So that's how you kind of structure your program. And it's a lot of time depending on individuals, what they have taken and how many courses they need to take, and how many classes they can take, and so on there. Does that help?
And just remember that you don't just have to rely on these roadmaps. Make sure to go in for advising, and your advisors can help you figure out what classes to take for the next semester. So we have a question from Vince. Do computer engineers need to be proficient in programming?
Yes, both computer science, computer engineering, definitely programming is a key part, and the students take both Comp E30 and Comp E50, both classes. Comp E30 focus on C, basic C there, and then Comp E50 get into the object-oriented concept, C++, so on. Yeah, programming is essential because it's needed so many other classes there. They're prerequisite for others. So it definitely, if you don't like programming, then that's definitely, you're going to have difficulty. You have your own challenges there. So you definitely have to do well in programming.
If the difference between software engineering and computer engineering is only a few classes, is it possible to double major?
No, it's not possible to double major there. There are differences there. In general, you see more hardware-oriented classes in computer engineering than software engineering. So that's the main difference. There's fewer hardware-oriented classes in computer engineering, but software engineering has only computer architecture class. That's kind of related to the hardware side there.
Okay. From Jason, how have the engineering students viewed the Humanities Honors programs as part of their coursework?
Humanity Honor program, I'm sorry, I couldn't get that part.
So
go ahead, sorry.
At SJSU, we have a Humanities Honors program that when you come in, you can take, and it sort of fast tracks your humanities requirements, your WST, all that with honors. So do you think that additional course load is something that engineering students should look forward to or attempt?
Well, it's up to individuals. If they like to stay in that honor, if you continue that one there, and they can carry both loads, it's up to individuals. So we're not gonna, we always feel like as any other field, anything is helping in your field, even though you think your engineer is definitely strength in other fields will help as well.
Okay. If I took AP computer science in my high school, then do I have to take a class of intro to computer science in college?
It is in CS46A. I think it's been, I think you don't need, I think it's CS46A, the AP in computer science be covered, but double check with the advisor. I don't think it's, you need to take it. I think it's AP in computer science accepted there. I know it's AP in math, and I think physics accepted. I think I had to double check on that, but I think AP in computer science, you don't need to take 1 or 2 classes programming.
Okay. From an anonymous attendee, are there any course required by computer engineering that can be taken before entering SJSU as a freshman?
Well, it's in general, lower division classes can be taken, and as long as it's been articulated there. So you can go to Assist and show you all the classes being articulated with us there. So all majority, I think most lower division classes been articulated there. So you go to community college, and actually we do recommend that, encourage students to take these classes community college, because sometimes it's easier, closer to your home, and to take these classes. So you come here. So lower division, any classes, lower division can be taken there. Anything number below 100.
I'm a software engineering transfer, and I was wondering about the availability of CS 146. I'm unable to take it in both fall and spring. Will that limit a lot of my options since many SE courses have it as a prereq?
That's a very good question. If that's going to be an issue, then it needs to be raised with the computer science department. But I would be surprised that it's not available for two semesters there. I mean, it should be available. But I don't know. Their enrollment is up to them how they do their enrollment because they're a different department there. We can usually, I mean, if the large number of our students want to take it, then we sometimes try to tell them that maybe you can open a new section, but we can't force them to do things there because different department.
From Jose Sandoval, what is the required GPA needed to transfer to the computer engineering program?
Well, there's depending every year, we very much follow closely with a transfer GPA. And then you need to have several courses for the transfer, for student transferring there. There's been 7 courses that have been decided there from math. I think you can see that one there for transfer classes there. So the more classes you're taking among this one, then the GPA is less, more like is tight on you there. So you need to take as many as you can. You take all 7 of them. And then the GPA, depending on for the transfer. So changing every year there. And then we'll rank them depending on availability as well there. So there's no specific number, but if you look at historically, it was at least 3.0 for the ones who meet all the prerequisites that have taken all the classes there. So if you miss one, they will be higher than that. So between at least 3.0, 3.5, but there's no commitment like 3.0 will get there.
Okay, so we have a question from Luna in the chat. If I finish a Bachelor of Science in Software Engineering at SJSU, what is the pathway or the requirements for admission into the master's program at SJSU? Is there a combined bachelor's/master's for software engineering?
Well, we used to have a combined program, but when we went down to 120 units, which is about 6 years ago, 2014 there, becoming less advantageous to, I mean, you're not saving unit, but there is an initiative now on the university still working on that to reduce number of units required if you go a combined program. Sometimes it's going to help in the senior project because our undergraduate program requires senior project as well as the graduate required master project there. So there's a requirement there. So there could be some overlapping. Right now, the only thing is because you're taking classes here, you apply early, probably there's benefits of continue with us there. But if there's a reduction number of units, I've seen some proposals, but I haven't seen the final, more like what's exactly what's going to be there.
From an anonymous attendee, if someone has gotten into the computer engineering program, can he request to transfer into software engineering before the fall 2020 semester starts?
No. You cannot transfer right away there because it's already, the transfer already been capped there because it already been decided that one there. So you need to spend at least 1 semester, then you can, and if you meet the GPA requirements there and whatever the formula we're using, and that's, then you may be able to transfer. You have to go through transfer after that.
What are the major differences in programming taught in software engineering versus computer engineering?
In software engineering, use Java, and computer engineering use C++. So that's the programming part of there. But of course, we use script languages in multiple other classes, like Python and others. So depending on specific classes. But the basic programming is C++ and computer engineering and Java and in computer science, and software engineering as well as computer science. But again, there's script languages involved in other classes.
Okay. From Bernadette, do you have any suggestions for getting an internship that gives real world experience?
You mean, well, it's first you start here and then you build on your more like as your coursework, you take classes, other things there, then you see more opportunities there. And internship, as I mentioned, there's job fair comes at the university wide twice a year, as well as the college and the department offers opportunity through more like clubs and through other means there, sometimes through classes as well there.
Would it be manageable to minor in something else, such as business, as computer engineering major?
Well, it's kind of hard depending on the other one there, because that's gonna add your coursework and there's less overlapping, like let's say in business there. It's possible. I've seen some people do minor with math from software engineering or computer engineering. There's others, but you're just gonna add more coursework, and it's up to individual. Feel like you may have to spend another semester or two just to get a minor there. So it depends. Feels beneficial for you or not. And just to add one thing is, you're expected to take more like 15 units per semester. And if you do any extra work, anything else, there's gonna impact your performance. And the classes do take, I mean, you really need to spend time on classes, especially many classes have lab components, so it takes some time.
Just on that note, just a typical unit to outside of classwork. For every unit, you should be taking 3 hours of outside of class time for your classwork. So at 15 units, that starts to add up, and it becomes quite difficult to manage it when you're working, say, a part-time job, or you are trying to do coursework beyond that of what is required for your major.
Well stated.
So we have a question from Michael. What are some examples of senior projects that you've seen?
Well, actually, I manage a senior project. There are a lot of students doing more like writing app in iOS or Android or web-based and all. Writing app to help more like sometimes is in senior citizen and parking, and there's a lot of choosing food and so many other things there. That's one set. It's more like in software oriented. There's other senior project students work more like a robots, and sometimes it's associated with the faculty's interest there. So it's a kind of joint work between you and the faculty, the advisor, faculty advisor. So you may suggest something, or usually it's a team project. So you and a couple other students approach a faculty member and said, okay, we're interested in such thing there. He said, okay, yeah, make some changes, all solve that. It's a very, it's really fun things to do, because you're going to do it for the whole year there, and there's quite a bit of a requirement of more like every week or 2 weeks, you have to meet with the advisor, you have to do presentation, and you have to submit report and so on there.
Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left, and we have 25 open questions, so we'll try and blast through them as fast as we can. Do you know the 4-year versus 5-year versus 6-year graduation rates for software engineering?
I don't have it offhand. It's kind of, I think the university does publish that for university-wide there. I think it's, you may see it in US News or other thing there. I know for sure we improved quite a bit from a few years back there. A few years back, the numbers were not that great there, but definitely I see, because last few years have been signing all the major forms and the graduation application there. And I see a lot of students finishing in 5 and 6 years, but I don't have the specific statistic for that one there.
How long does it usually take for students to complete graduate school for a master's in software engineering?
Graduate school, you mean, It is 30 to 33 units because there's another English requirement there. Usually between 2 to 2.5 years. If they don't need to take some more like courses before enter the master program, 2 to 2.5 years. I mean, 2 years and 2.5 years. Usually they take students. So usually it's time there.
Do you offer machine learning, AI related electives that you can take?
Yes, we do. We do have these classes. Actually, we are one of the very early universities nationwide. We're going to offer very soon a master program in AI thing there, the whole master program there. So that's is already more like in the approval stage. So probably you hear about it in a couple of months or maybe earlier there. So we do have both undergraduate and graduate classes in that area there. And these classes are very popular.
Okay. Do I need to have any previous knowledge about software engineering before starting college?
Well, I think this is, if you're a freshman there, definitely it's, I mean, you can look at the classes you take, and you have to do whatever the math exam, whatever you need to do to English. I think they offer it differently this year, but you need to take all the prerequisites to get there. If you, depending what you've done in high school, you can do more. Maybe you can practice by yourself programming, whatever you do there. But the main thing is stay safe now and healthy.
There's a lot of repeats, so I'm trying to go through them.
So it's like we have over 70 participants, which is pretty good.
Are you required to take a minor if taking a computer engineering major?
Not requirement. No, it's actually, you can do that, but it's not requirement. I mean, is there no?
If I were to study, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
If I were to study abroad during my third year, would I still be able to get the same credits at SJSU and stay on track?
Well, you need to get approval for the classes you take abroad there. And I think there's an office for students to go abroad there. So you need to look at the classes you're going to take over there. And you need to work with your major advisor to find if they're equivalent to these classes at San Jose State. So you get a credit for the classes you're taking abroad.
From Jordan, how difficult is it to get into a class that you're trying to register when you're going for classes that relate to your major?
Well, it is within the major there. If you're not repeating the classes, everything else there, make sure you get you can do online registration there. And in general, most students have been able to get the classes there. But it's always some issue, depending on the availability in sector or thing, but it's not difficult. As far as outside, the university try to help, as outside the department, the university try to help as well, especially some of the core classes in math and physics.
Okay, so we have 1 minute left. It's kind of time to just wrap up. That's about all the time we have for your session. Thank you for all of your excellent questions. If you have any further questions, you can please email them to engineering@sjsu.edu. At this time, I would like to invite you to exit this meeting and visit any other sessions that you may be of interest. It's not unusual to start in one department and end up in another. Thank you for your time and congratulations on being accepted as a Spartan. We look forward to seeing you in the fall. Thank you for answering all these questions, Professor Fatui.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And good luck.
Have a great day, everyone.
Good. Bye.